Hello everyone, my name is Qiaochu Fan. I'm currently a postdoc researcher working in TU Delft. Today I'm going to present one of the most recent research in SumLab. That is a research I collaborated with Dr. Kuldeep Kavta, Professor Shadi Sharif Azadeh, and Professor Gonzalo Homan de Almeida, Korea. The topic that I'm going to share with you today is from conventional transport modes to V2G-enabled vehicles, an analysis of mode substitution behavior. So before we present the research, let's focus on one of the keywords in the title, which is the V2G. So what is V2G? V2G is called vehicle-to-grid technology. This is a technology that can enable electric vehicles into a battery on wheels. So it can help to realize this bidirectional charging and discharging. Why is V2G so important? Because it has several advantages. First of all, it can store the excessive renewable energy generated and then save it in the battery and support the electricity back to the grid when the power grid needed at the peak demand. It can also create some values for electric EV owners. For example, it can buy the electricity with a relatively low price and then sell it back to the grid with a relatively higher price. This way, they can earn some benefits. However, this V2G technology is not yet widely implemented, and realizing its full potential requires a large-scale adoption from the user side. Currently, I'm working for this V2G Quest project, Vehicle to Grid, for equitable zero-emission transition in positive energy districts. The main objective of this project is to design V2G solution in urban districts that are equitable, used and accessed by all, and in all district types. And therefore, we can produce a higher impact on the power grid balancing. There is indeed a unique perspective of this project is instead of focusing on the high-end neighborhood or the high-income people who can afford the electric vehicle usage, we bring the electric mobility and the concept of V2G into more disadvantages and typically excluded communities. Why study V2G uses through mode choices? As we mentioned before, the success of the potential of this technology needs large-scale usage participation in their daily lives, and mode choice is one of the most important decisions people make in their daily lives in terms of travel. Mode choice determines when, where, and how long V2G-capable cars are parked and available to the grid. Looking at the existing literature, we also find out that the current literature focuses mostly on the purchase decisions, the contract arrangement, or the single charging events. And no study has focused on the mode choice when the V2G-enabled options are involved. Here, we say the V2G-enabled options is not only the privately owned electric vehicles with V2G, we also look at the car-sharing electric vehicles with V2G. So in our research, we focus on this research question, how willing are people to switch from their current mode of transport to the V2G-enabled options if V2G benefits were there on the table? The main methodology we used in this research is stated preference experiments. And we use an online software that's called Qualtrics to design the survey and distribute the survey. On the right side of this slide, you can see the survey framework. We start the survey firstly by a brief introduction of the V2G technology, and then we present the respondents the questionnaires for the mode choices. In this module, the respondents will make travel mode choices in multiple hypothetical scenarios. And then at the end of the survey, we will collect their social demographic data, including gender, age, level of education, household structure, etc. And the questionnaires for the mode choices, this module is one of the most interesting parts in this survey. And let's have a look at together how does the hypothetical scenarios look like for the respondents. So for each of the choice tasks, we will present the respondent 3 alternatives. The first one is their current mode of transport, which could be public transport, internal combustion vehicles, electric vehicles, or bikes. We selected these 4 modes specifically because these are the most frequently used modes in the Netherlands. And then besides these modes, there are another 2 V2G related modes, which is the privately owned electric vehicles with V2G and car sharing electric vehicles with V2G. And here we make an assumption that everyone has already owned a private electric vehicles with V2G in the future, so they don't need to worry if they need to buy one or not. And each of the respondents will be asked to provided 2 reference trips. One is the trip for commuting, and another one is the trip for leisure or shopping trips. They will be asked to provide several informations related to this trip, such as the trip length, the travel time in vehicles, the walking time from the vehicles to destination, and from the vehicles destination to the vehicles. The waiting time, if their current mode is public transport, parking searching time if their current mode is cars, and battery level before departure if their current mode is privately owned electric vehicles. And the attributes for all the other 2 alternatives is designed based on the input information provided by the respondents. For the other 2 alternatives, there are some extra V2G related features considered. For example, the financial compensation for using V2G and also the minimum guaranteed battery range of if they use the V2G related options. Respondents will rank the 3 options from the most preferred to the least preferred. Why we consider ranking instead of just choosing one out of the 3? Because ranking can capture richer preference information. But it has also another very big advantage because it will relax the assumptions that everyone owns a privately electric vehicles with V2G that we made before. Because in the future, it's not super clear that everyone will have a private electric vehicles with V2G. We can just simply removing this option out of the ranking, and then we will still have the preference for each of the respondents regarding their current mode and the car sharing vehicle with V2G. In the end, we will have 4 scenarios in total: commuting with non-commuting combined with having an electric vehicles with V2G or not having an electric vehicles with V2G. So in combination of these 2 dimensions, we will have 4 scenarios in the end. We collected the data from February to April in 2025 in order to reach a broader sample, so not only the current EV owner and also the potential adopters across diverse social demographic groups. We collected the data from 3 different samples. We collect on-street surveys. We also cooperated with some panel companies in Utrecht, and we also collaborated with a local Dutch electric driver association to get more members that owns electric vehicles. In the end, we get in total 743 valid responses. To analyze the collected survey data, we developed multinomial logic model and another one, random parameters rank ordered logic model. The purpose of develop this one is to capture the unobserved heterogeneity in preference towards the 2 V2G modes. And in this model, we defined 3 random parameters, 2 alternative specific error terms for the V2G options, and 1 parameter that captures the unobserved correlation between the 2 V2G options. And in these slides, you can find the key findings of the research. First of all, the cost savings matter the most. It can significantly raise people's willingness to use the V2G technology after knowing that there is a cost saving. And then people Across all the groups, people show a strong status quo inertia. That means people prefer to use their current mode of transport compared to the V2G options. Battery range is not a barrier anymore after knowing that the minimum guaranteed battery range is enough to cover the current travel distance. Ownership beats sharing. That means people will always prefer to use their privately owned vehicles instead of the V2G car sharing option. And also, we found out that the adoption potential differs across user group. It will be relatively easier for the current EV owners to adapt to the V2G equipped electric vehicles. And for the bicycle users, it will be super hard for them to switch to the V2G options because they strongly prefer the bike options. If you are interested in reading the full paper, you can scan this QR code here. Thank you for your attention.